Shalom, my name is Adam Wasserman from Crown Heights, Brooklyn, New York. On the topic of the environment, Jewish law, and green opportunities, I'd like to start off with what does the Torah say about, the environment? What does God have to say? Well, in Judaism we have 613 laws. In these laws, these oral laws, it talks about how you should treat animals. It says, like you should feed your animal before you feed yourself, that your animal should not be working on Shabbat. Uh, if you're not going to work, your animal shouldn't work. It says, when you make kashrut with kosher animals, that you should slit the throat of the animal in one slit, that it should die right away, and that your animal, if you're going to eat from this animal, it should be dead. It shouldn't be half alive, and that it shouldn't be crippled. It shouldn't be too old, or any of these things. And these are ways of being humane to animals, not being cruel to them, and not having them be treated wrong. There's other things that says, according to kashrut, Jewish food practices, you can't shoot the animal and eat it. You have to trap it. So the animal cannot be injured. It has to be trapped in a way that it's not going to be injured. And you can't trap on Shabbat. And there's a question, can you put a mouse trap in your house during Shabbat? The answer is no. But if it's there before Shabbat, rabbis will say you're allowed to do it. Others will say you have to remove it. That's a question. And there's other things that say, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the land, and build it. So you could say, well, Adam, okay, it says treat your animals right and take care of them, but it also says multiply and build up the land. I ask you a question. If I told you to go to the store, go to the corner store, and buy me 6-pack of beer and pack of cigarettes, now you'd go. Now you're going to need money. You're going to need, to know how to cross the street properly. You're going to need to know where you're going, and other little things. So I just told you go to the store, buy me, the beer and the cigarettes. Everything else you should understand, right? So this is the idea: is that God wants us to multiply, be fruitful, multiply. He wants us to fill the land up, but He knows that we know that there is a way of doing this that is proper for the environment and for people. When you look at a city like New York City, imagine New York without Central Park or Prospect Park. It'd be a city that has, really, it's a whole, a concrete box. I was actually at Central Park today, and I can't imagine living in a place where I'd never see trees or water or birds or what have you. The parks are an essential part of an urban environment. And we have to learn that as we progress and as we grow and fill the land, that we have to have planning. We have to plan our cities and our towns, our villages, in the idea of green spaces around with corridors for animals to get through. I love it when people move to the country and they got bears in their backyard, or they got deers eating their garden. Well, why'd you move to the country if you know they're there? That's one of the reasons why you moved there. So places like New Jersey and other places, they will shoot the bears in order to keep them out of people's yards, or they'll get rid of the deers from the area because they don't want them in their garden. I ask myself, well, then why'd you move there? Why should the animal be thrown out so you can move in? In Israel, the way they build is very differently than America. Israel, maybe it's because it's a small country, maybe it's a lot of mountains there, but they build very tightly together. They don't spread out. It's closed communities that are very closely structured. People don't have a lot of land, kibbutzim and all that, but your average Israeli has a very small piece of land, not a big backyard or anything. And it actually works very well because there's land all around, and there's beauty, and people are not that far away from nature, and it brings up the value of the property. Instead of, I live in the suburbs, but it takes me an hour to get to a nice, quiet spot. So I think this is a great way of how we have to build. Right now, not tomorrow, but today. We can't be building, wherever we want. We can't say, well, you can have 100 acres of land that's just for you, and that, you can build this huge backyard and throw everything out, all the animals out of it. It's not right. It's not how we build a society that is growing, very quickly. Another thing that is a very good idea is solar panels. Today we talk about our energy, and we need more oil, we need to develop. Now they're looking to take oil out of sand rock and to take the sand. There's oil in certain sands, like in Colorado, and to remove it. It's very expensive, but it can work. This is crazy. They say it's expensive to make solar panels, so why should we do it? Well, doing these kind of new power drills to get oil out is even more expensive. And if you think about it, why does Walmart work? Walmart works because it's a mass store that's all over the place, and they can buy in bulk and therefore make their product cheaper. Now, if you take that same idea with solar panels and wind power turbines, if you buy them in bulk, if you really expand on them, they'll become cheaper. And today, every year, we become more technological, smarter about how to use solar panels. You don't need heat for solar. You just need light. And even when the light goes away, the solar panels collect energy and hold it there for the night. In fact, a lot of people today that have solar panels actually sell their energy back to the electric company because they have so much extra. In fact, the largest country that's involved in solar panels today is Germany. In Israel today, Israel's the only country in the world that has a law that says you have to have solar panels in order to have hot water. And this isn't it works. It's clear. I don't hear Israelis complaining. I lived in Israel, always had hot water. There's a lot of ways that we can make our cities, our urban development more greener. Now, we can't just rely and say we're just going to use solar and wind because, well, we're out of that stage. Before we said we're just going to have oil and coal and that's going to be it. That's our power source. Today we have an opportunity to use different things. In New York, it's funny because you go on a rooftop and you see black tar tops all over the place. And anybody that knows, excuse me, how the sun works, if you have something that's black, like a black roof, you're going to make that building hotter. It's going to collect energy. In fact, if you have a white roof, it'll bounce the heat off for the most part. So it's actually better to have a lighter roof than a dark roof. Now imagine a roof in New York City that's completely solar panel. How wonderful would it be? My electric bill. I have a 2-bedroom apartment. This is my sister's old bedroom. My electric bill for a 2-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn, New York is $200 a month. Now, if I had solar panels up on the roof, which I wish my landlord would let me, my electric bill, I might not even have to pay electric. And I can put solar panels outside the window. Hell, I could put solar panels, threads of solar panels in the window itself, where it just looks like a design around the window, like a security system is in a window, and that can collect energy. We can take cars and put solar panels that you wouldn't even see. It would just be a line across the window that would help the car have energy. We can develop today cars that are almost completely a solar panel and you wouldn't even know it. Making a car electric is fantastic. I'm totally for this idea. Problem is, where do you get the electricity from? More cars that go electric means more electricity that's needed. But if you use solar, then your problem's solved. And you could say, well, where are we going to put all these solar panels? On everybody's roof? That's still not going to be enough. You're right, it's not going to be enough. But there was something, I forgot where it came from, but it was said that if we took a solar panel that was the size of Connecticut, the state of Connecticut, and put it in southern Nevada near Las Vegas, that would be enough power to power the whole entire United States of America. Now imagine, Connecticut's a pretty small place. A solar panel that big in Nevada where there is nothing, it's just all desert, not only would Vegas make a fortune off of this, but it would be fantastic because then we just have our power, it's taken care of, and we're good to go. We don't have to worry. Something that, we got enough problems in life. What do we need that problem for? Let's do it. There's other stuff like today New York City is putting in wind turbines in the water because we have a very fast-flowing flow in the East River, and it's a great place for wind turbines that go underwater. And it's another great way, and it's cool. Also, New York today, a lot of new buildings are, instead of putting the black tar on top of the roofs, they're actually putting gardens on the roofs, grass on top of the roof, and it's showing that the grass is actually working fantastic. It holds the heat in the wintertime, and it pushes the heat out in the summertime. And it looks great, it smells great, and it's a great place for people to relax, go up on the roof and chill out. So this is also another great idea of how to make things more green. It's funny, I was at the American National Museum the other day in Manhattan. It's free, actually. And it was saying, there was a thing there that said that 6% of the world's mass, the world's land mass, is protected. 6%. That's about the size of the continental United States of America. You imagine, only 6% of the landmass in this world is protected. I believe 3% in the Middle East and North Africa is protected land. 11% in Europe, 13% in North America. I believe it's 9% in Central America is land protected, 8% in South America, and what is it? Actually, yeah, it's like 8% in Sub-Saharan Africa, south of the desert. No, you think about it. Oh, we got all these nature parks. What do we need all this thing and taking away people's land and states' land? Come on, people. We're talking about a small percentage of land that's being protected. If you look at it, think about this. How do we breed? How do we live? You know, you can have all the water in the world, all the fresh water you want, but if you don't have trees, you have no oxygen. And if you have no oxygen, you're dead. We need trees to filter the oxygen to create oxygen. And I'm not a scientist, so don't ask me the details. But nonetheless, you have a country like Brazil with the Amazon rainforest, the largest rainforest in the world. You know, there's more animal species there than anywhere else in the world, and bug species and so forth. This forest is being destroyed and clear-cut. Now, the Brazilian government, you know, that's their big money. They make money off of this. We survive on timber. We want timber. We have an itch. Timber is like our cocaine, you know. So how do you stop this country, Brazil, from taking out the forests? Well, you say, listen, this forest is a benefit because it gives us oxygen. So I'm going to pay you, Brazil, to keep this forest intact. Now you're going to say, well, we're going to pay for we pay for everything today, electricity, water. Now you want to pay for oxygen? Well, you know something. If we're not willing, and I'm not saying that, you know, every individual American was going to pay for oxygen, but in the UN, if we made like a, you know, every country contributes to protecting these rainforests that give us oxygen, then, you know, we can say to the country, listen, don't destroy the forest. Here's money to keep it going. It's not the perfect idea, but I think it's something better than what we got now. And, you know, we just don't have a choice in the matter. You know, the world is continuing to build. There's 7 billion people in the world today. 9 billion people will be in 2050, they're predicting. That's not a problem for me. But the problem is that we're not building properly and we're not investing in the right ways. We can have billions and billions of people in this world, but we need to do it in a sensible way. We can't say, well, we're going to keep on drilling for oil. That's not the solution. Now, you want to say, well, there's no such thing as global warming. I'm going to say there is such a thing as global warming. Whether or not we are making it, you know, I don't believe that humans are making global warming. We might be speeding it up. It's a natural, you know, the world is always changing. So I do believe in it, but I do believe it's a natural situation. But nonetheless, it is real. It is happening, and we have to think about in the next 100 years from now, our grandchildren, how we need to make sure that they have it, you know, a planet that they can work with, and we didn't destroy it for it to be, you know, ruined by the time we get there. Anyways, there's a lot to say about this topic, and I am a tree hugger. I don't deny it, and I'm a bit conservative, I'm a bit fanatic, I'm a bit liberal, I am a bit socialist, I'm a bit everything. But ultimately, if you don't agree with me, that's your opinion. I respect your opinion. But don't deny the facts that we are losing our wilderness. We are losing our natural environment. We are losing a lot of animals. There's only a few thousand cheetahs in the world today, only a few thousand lions, and you know, these animals are just going down and down in number, and our populations are going up, and we're just saying, well, let them live in the parks that exist now. We need to build more in parks. We need to at least get the world up to at least 10% protected. I would say that 18% is better, but definitely at the numbers that it's at current, it's going to be a disaster in the future, and we must go green. whether you like it or not. It's not a socialist or a liberal idea to go green.